Hi everyone, my name is Whitney Beckman. For my Capstone 2 research project, I decided to focus on the topic of depression in the elderly population. I personally have a lot of interest in this population and I hope to work with them when I achieve my degree through this program. I've taken quite a few aging-related courses through the University of New England, and a bunch of them have addressed mental health issues in this population, especially depression. So before I go into my project and what I did, I wanted to just share a couple facts with you. Currently today, 6 million seniors suffer from depression. That calculates to about 1 to 3% of the senior population. 8 to 16% show depressive symptoms but are not clinically depressed. So, one of the controversies with this topic is that depression is severely underdiagnosed in the senior population. There's a lot of misconceptions about what's considered just sadness to be a normal part of aging, and it's not. No one should have to feel persistently sad. So, depression's a serious mental disorder. It affects mental health, physical health, relationships, overall quality of life. And just in case you weren't sure on the clear definition of depression, according to the DSM-5, it is a mood disorder that results in persistent sadness, and it can affect your mental and physical health. So, my research question that I came up with was, what are the most common reasons for depression? I wanted to work with this question because I felt like we know that depression is common in the elderly, but we don't know what the most common reasons are. We aren't sure of the most solid reasons that these seniors are suffering from depression. I think that identifying the reasons is going to be helpful in knowing what to look for in depressed adults and being able to tell what's depression and what's just a part of going through life cycle changes and experiencing temporary sadness. I also think that working with this question will help increase the amount of assessments and screenings done on seniors that are experiencing life cycle changes, like losing a spouse or a friend, or transitioning into a nursing home or assisted living. And I think that in order to properly treat and work with our clients, we have to understand their unique situations and why they're experiencing depression. So, my survey was a 12-question closed-ended survey. The only question that had any kind of written response to it was, in the beginning, I asked the participants to list any kind of medical conditions they suffered from. So that kind of gave a background about their health. I mailed with the survey, I mailed consent forms, and I also included a prepaid stamped envelope so that they could mail it back and remain anonymous. They didn't have to, sacrifice their confidentiality for this. I also required that the people that mailed back surveys signed the consent form, and if they didn't, I just didn't include their survey in my data collection. I chose closed-ended questions because it's easier for seniors to just circle yes or no, not spend the time writing it out, all that. And I also had a lot of criteria that I made sure my potential participants fit with. First of all, I made sure that everyone was age 65 or older because that's considered seniors. And I also made sure that it only went out to people that had been clinically diagnosed with depression in the past 6 months. So the last kind of criteria I had was I mailed out to an even amount of seniors from different situations. So I mailed to seniors living alone, seniors living in assisted living, and seniors living with family members. This way I kind of got a variety of background for participants for this survey. So the survey, as I said, was 12 questions long, yes and no answers, and it addressed information like senior isolation, senior living situations, their mental health, physical health, all kinds of factors that might contribute to depression. So that included questions like, have you lost a spouse in the last 10 years? Have you ever been depressed in the past? Do you have children or family that visit you? Do you feel lonely often? Do you consider yourself independent? Do you feel your physical health is rapidly declining? And so on and so forth. So I felt that kind of gathered a well-rounded idea of what kinds of potential causes for depression they might experience, and then I could see which ones were most common. So after about 2 months, I began to collect the results. I ended up choosing 7 surveys from each subpopulation group, so that way I had a kind of even amount of participants from different backgrounds. And the results actually showed that the most common cause for this depression was the isolation and lack of social relationships, followed by the rapid decline of their physical mental health, and third place was loss of independence. So I then took the results and ran them through EpiInfo Free and did some correlation tests. I found correlations between the questions about loss of independence and physical health, which makes sense. I mean, obviously, as you get older and your physical health declines, your independence levels go down. You need caregivers, you need people to help you with transportation and all sorts of just needs they have to be met as you get older. So the second correlation I found was between loneliness and loss of spouses, friends, or lack of family. That obviously I said is the most common reason according to my results. Social relationships, they do a lot for seniors. They improve mental health, physical health, promote resiliency, and not having those social supports that you used to have can really affect your well-being. The third correlation was between declining health and change in living situation. So that kind of correlates to the first two I talked about, because as your health declines, a lot of seniors end up in nursing homes, assisted living, or have to move in with family members. And, that's definitely unfortunate, but it's a reality. So just a few quick percentages that I gathered from my results. 71% of participants reported losing a spouse in the last 10 years. 67% had changed their living situations in the past 10 years. 86% felt their health was rapidly declining, and 90% felt lonely often. So taking this information, we can use the results to determine the most causes for depression, and then use that information to advocate for more resources and services to address the needs of seniors with depression, whether they're facing it because of isolation or their declining health, and so on. I also think that this information means that we as professionals will be able to know what to look for with symptoms and signs of depression, and also be more aware of potential reasons one might develop depression. So if you're working in a nursing home as a social worker, you might be more inclined to assess or screen a senior that might be new to the nursing home and used to live independently, or has lost a spouse in the last 10 years, any kind of life cycle changes. I think that these kind of results would give us more solid proof of, oh, this is happening, maybe I should, check and see if this person might be suffering from depression. So that's pretty much my project, and hopefully, if I could put this on a larger scale, I would investigate seniors of more backgrounds and variety. And thank you.